Moshe Rabbeinu gives the Jewish people a whole shopping list of all the different materials that they need to get together in order to make the Mishkan a reality. And the things on the list are what we'd expect to be there. Gold, silver, copper for the kalim, special fabrics for the tapestries, the parochas, and the coverings on top of the Mishkan. We need oil for the lights of the menorah, special fragrances to make the ketores and the shemen hamishcha. But when we get to the end of the list, the last item is a little bit of a surprise. Avnei miluim. Avnei miluim, the best way we can translate that in a literal sense, is filler stones. Filler stones doesn't sound really very important at all. They're just fillers. But at the same time, we know that these stones were extremely important. They were very expensive. The Gemara tells us with the story of Dama ben Nesina that each stone called a tremendous price. Not only that, the Medrash tells us that they couldn't even get them in the midbar. They had to be flown in miraculously on clouds. And the only people who could provide them were the Nesiim, the heads of each tribe of Klal Yisrael. And they're called filler stones because, as Rashi explains, they were openings, little settings in the clothing of the Kohen Gadol in which these stones were placed. But if that's all we call them, Avnei Miluim, what happened to their individual significance? Why do we refer to them simply by the fact that they filled an empty spot in the clothing of the Kohen Gadol? The answer might be as follows. At every point in life, but especially when a person is making major decisions, such as about what career path they're going to follow, they're very often thinking about, what am I going to be? What am I going to do? What are my dreams? What are my aspirations? What am I going to accomplish? Who will I end up being at the end of my life? But in retrospect, when a person looks back after decades of their life, sometimes they may realize that the most important things that Hashem put them on this world to accomplish, some of the most important tasks and goals that they really had to address, were not simply about me, for myself, and who I will be, but rather, who or what will I mean to someone else? What empty void will I fill in another person's life? Am I going to be the right husband to my wife, father to my children, a chavrusa to my friend, a member of a community with so many people around me counting on me? Will I provide the inspiration for someone else who's a little disconnected, or maybe someone who's a little bit depressed, to share what I'm given to bring a little light to that person's life as well? And the real question of what I can accomplish, what I will accomplish, and what I did accomplish isn't so much about what I did on my own, but what holes, or what openings, or what gaps I filled in for another person. Rabbi Schnall Birnbaum, the Mir Rosh Yeshiva, explained that that's why we call these Avnei Miluim. Of course, they had their own individual value and significance and a very high price. But the message that we see in the Parsha is that sometimes, first and foremost, the priority is to label something by what it means to someone else, something else, or what role it plays in the bigger picture. We should be zocheh to find how our lives and what we do on our own is meant by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to fill in those gaps for other people and to have a much more deeper and broader and extensive meaning in everything that we do.